We're entering SEC play, baby. We're going to talk about that and the injury report. That and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. That's Coop. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Give us 5 anyway, and gift it. So on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, we're going to dive into a few different topics. Like, we're going to talk about the game coming up. We're also going to jump and talk about all the injury reports. We're going to break down what that actually means on who plays and who doesn't. Then we'll wrap it up with all the questions y'all got. You know, we're going to laugh and talk about all these Vols fans. Because I swear to y'all, on my flight from Charlotte, I saw at least 200 of them. Coop, happy Thursday night, man. You know, a little off what we normally do. How you doing today?
It's all right. You know, maybe that might have just been one family. You know, everybody from like one house just going for paternity tests and whatnot. But no, right. Just got it's got a little storm action rolling in. Nice cool temperature, about a 25-degree drop. At soccer practice tonight, so that was always welcomed. But yeah, man, just excited. And this is I have had trouble trying to like get what day is what this week straightened, because things are just tossed back and forth. You trying to change up and put us on Thursday, and then not talking to me for like 2 days, and doing cool stuff. So yeah, man, I'm pretty excited. This is tomorrow's going to be rough. I'm going to be pretty stacked up for work wise, and trying my damnedest to pay attention. So
yeah, no, my bad. I had to switch things up today. I've been traveling. I'm just now, as y'all can see, I'm in my home, so I get this environment. After the Tennessee game, I will also be doing that one remotely. I have a flight on Sunday, so I'll be leaving Sunday, and I'll be gone for another week and doing everything remote once again. But it'll be all right. We're gonna make sure all the goods still come to you all. Me and Coop will break down how that game finishes. We'll talk about how, going into the next week, which would be the traveling to Auburn. We'll be talk about that and all that jazz. So, yeah, I'm not. How you feeling about this game coming up, Coop? We've got the injury reports that's come down, which I think is cool. We've got the SEC mandated weekly injury reports that has to come down. That gets your boy excited. Let's talk about how you feeling going into this game. We'll break down like actual how we think we're going to perform later. But how do you feel about it?
So, I mean, I guess that if you told me at the beginning of the season, hey, listen, you're going to make it to Tennessee 3-0. You're going to start about 7 different offensive line, setups. The most points on defense you will have given up is 12. And yes, I know that they've got to pick 6, so that doesn't really, defense gets the stats, but I mean, the defense really didn't give that up. So, man, you would also lose your top 4 receivers coming in, and you're going to have a bunch of guys just running in circles. So, I mean, I guess that if you would have told me that, and then for Tennessee, you're getting guys back, you're getting healthier, I think I would have taken that. But I think the fact is, Jay, that we were thinking about just making sure you take care of business early. Get younger guys in, get them some playing time. But the good thing is we've been getting a lot of good guys, younger guys in, getting playing time, because of different reasons. So
the unfortunate reasons.
Everybody get ready with number 1, because that helps you build more competitive depth when these guys are playing early in the games and not waiting for blowout time, and all that stuff. So I'm pretty excited right now, Jay. I went from like, I think that we can keep this close to, seeing the first injury report and hear some of the first whispers to where I'm like, okay, maybe we can give them a game. to, doing more, film study. But now I'm excited about this game because I think that I'm going to call out the fans right now, and I'm knowing that I'm going long-winded here, but we can affect this game in the stadium this week. And if you are going to the game, or somebody going to the game, I tweeted out earlier, you better need a dadgum Ricola cough drop after the game, because I hope on Sunday it is going to be harder than hell to understand what I'm saying. So cheers from the earlier CD comment.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I wanted to make sure everybody knows is, please, any fan that's going to be at the stadium, go ahead and show how SEC ready that we can be. We need to have a quote-unquote 12th man feeling there, not like A&M as their namesake, but more so we need fans to just be loud all the time, right? The beauty of it is at night, the weather is going to be nice. It'll be comfortable, and especially at that point of kickoff, the sun should be going down nicely, so you should be in the 80s, and no reason to leave early because it ain't gonna be the sun beaming on you at the beginning of the day. I think that's always been the big problem with even just talking about the fans here in the Big 12 plays, because we always played those 11 o'clock games, and man, they be cooking, cooking, right? So instead of everybody frying while they're trying to enjoy the game, we get to get some of these later games, which is going to be a big time plus. So, but thank y'all for pulling up per the norm. Me personally, be honest, I'm a lot calmer on this because I'm looking at this on the gambling side. Let me preface what I mean. So, when we did the Bleacher Report show, speaking of which, we'll be live on Friday. Me and the crew from the SEC Connect will be over there on Bleacher Report, 11 o'clock Central, 12 Eastern, on the Bleacher Report app. We'll be doing our prediction show. We do it every Friday now. They asked us to come through and do it every Friday for this season. So we'll be this Friday, next Friday, throughout. And one of the games that I focused on, Coop, was that Notre Dame-Purdue game, right? Notre Dame just had that ugly loss at the crib to Northern Illinois. And they travel on the road to Purdue, and they're like 9.5-point favorites. I'm looking at that and like, wait a minute. They just took a massive L on national television, right? It was at a nice spot on NBC because, that's their TV contract. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a concern to me that they're getting 9 points on the road against Purdue. Regardless of how good Purdue is, they just lost Northern Illinois in a way they shouldn't have. That means Notre Dame's going to blow them out. Notre Dame had them like 42-0 at half, something like that. Like, it was a stupid number, right? And when I was talking to Ty Hayes over there around the table, he was laughing. He's like, dude, he's like, hey, man, how did you catch that? I'm like, I keep an eye on traffic and how people spend on the gamblings, right? Now, let me preface that from there. I'm not saying that we are going to blow out Tennessee in this game, but the spread is sitting there right now at 7.5, and it's been fluctuating between 6 and 7.5. I've seen it at 6.5 in some spots. I've seen it at 6. I've seen it at 7. I've seen it at 7.5. And I'm going to tell you all right now, roughly 80 to 90% of the money in the tickets, 92, all on Tennessee.
92%. I just checked just a few minutes ago.
See, depending on who you're looking at, whose side, yes. Basically, everybody's betting that Tennessee is going to fly over that number. But this is the thing. This is the kicker. When the spread doesn't move because of that type of traffic, Vegas is trying to tell you something. And I say that because Vegas's goal is to make money. And so when they start moving the line, is to manipulate people to bet on one side or the other. Well, Coop, when I see that the line ain't moving, it tells me one thing and one thing only. Vegas wants more people on Tennessee. And they're very happy with them being on Tennessee. So for me, what that tells me is that I think Oklahoma has a very good chance of at least covering the spread. Now, I don't believe that we win or lose yet. I'm still in the air. The biggest thing for me is, and as the homie Truth points out, is all about the offensive line right now with the shuffling we've had to do. But the injury report came down, and Steven, thanks for pointing out in the chat in the Discord. I've already seen it. I was looking at it earlier today, and it hadn't changed from the day before. But what we do know is that there's a very good chance that the people we need to play gonna play, right? I'm hearing that there's a good chance we'll get some Everett. We'll get some. Let me pull this bad boy up so people can actually look at it. I'm gonna pull it up. I don't want to do an entire screen. I want to do just this picture, but you don't like me, do you? You don't. Open and preview. That's what I needed. There you are. There we go. Let me fix this real quick because
this is good podcasting right now. So
it is, right. This is that quality stuff, the stuff that y'all been looking for. This is everything that y'all have dreamed of and more right here. Right?
Shape, touch.
Right, exactly, right? Here you go. This is what we're looking at right here as far as the setup, right? So you know the standard people, Gibson, Farouk, Gentry, which shocked me that he's out, but I know that shoulder, every time he falls on it, it's everybody's basically holding their breath. So hopefully he gets that bad boy settled. And Gary and Hatchett, who we expected because they say he's out for the season too because of surgery. You had three surgeries on here, right? And then, Gentry figured things out. McCullough's still doubtful. He didn't have to have surgery on that foot, but I'm guessing he still ain't there yet as far as health-wise, but it's okay. We're not tripping on that. But seeing Hickman, Taylor, and Troy Everett, your three offensive linemen in the questionable, probable spots, sounds like Everett Hickman is most likely going to play. They're working towards playing. You get that. That helps with the offensive line and shores up with the experience that you were expecting going into this season. Coop, how you feel about that?
I mean, as you look through here, I mean, Brenton Hickman, in for a drive and a couple plays. He goes out. That's when the cha-cha slide of the offensive line starts. And bringing back my DJ days. That's how old I am. But yeah, so Hickman goes out. You move everybody all around. Jake Taylor goes out. Everybody all around again. And so. And we still hadn't seen Troy Everett. He got hurt, a decent time ago. So you get those three guys back in some capacity. The downside of it is I still don't believe that they're going to step right in and just play at an exceedingly high level.
Right.
But I think really, 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 you get an intelligence piece in there. You don't have guys double teaming, the nose tackle when you're supposed to be grabbing the blitzing Sam linebacker. You don't have, guys. I love Josh Bates, and I really, really hope that he is going to continue to improve. But you don't have some of those issues to where you make a big stop and then dude flips his lid and.
Yeah,
there you go. So I'm excited about this. Kendall Dolby, I think, is just as much the heart and soul of this defense as Danny Stutzman is. Well, let me rephrase that. Danny Stutzman is the heart and soul, but Kendall Dolby is what takes this defense from good to potentially great. Because Sammy is going to be the next Kendall Dolby, but Kendall Dolby still holds that title. So I'm excited to see those guys. And then Nick. You got to think about this. Nick is 6'4", 215, 220. That's a different type of wide receiver than you've been throwing out there. He's almost the same size as Reagan's and Brennan Thompson together. So
guys combined.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to see these kids back. These guys are wanting to be there. You see him on the depth chart. I know that Deshaun is really, really just hankering to play. And, hopefully we have him back for a little road trip next week. But, man, these depth chart things, the depth chart has always been somewhat of a, novelty item. But, like, this new, injury report thing, like, it's a pretty neat deal. But, I mean, not too many people can look at the depth chart and be like, Oklahoma's just making execute. Oh, wait, hold a second. Oh, damn, they are beat up. And so it's good to see all these guys under the questionable and probable.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that we've got more people coming back healthy. Nick and Andrell will be huge. I'm hoping Andrell decides to go. I know that knee is still, of course. I mean, he got hurt, October last year.
October.
So we're coming up on 11 months. He played in August. He played August 30th. He got like 5 or 6 snaps in. So we know that he's starting to work on it. We know that he's practicing and hopefully he's ready to go ahead and do it. But yeah, man. We get Nick and Andrew back to go along with Burks, that changes the whole dynamic of our offense, which is what we want. We would like to have our top players and our healthy guys playing to be able to change. Because coming into this season, that's the thing that I've preached like crazy is what we need is having the healthy wide receivers to help supplement what, Jackson Arnold's going to be doing as a young quarterback, right? He's the leader at quarterback, but at the same time, you still need guys to be able to make things easier for him. If your entire dynamic is young, that makes things hard. And then the offensive line, seeing all those injuries, man, hopefully we get, you get them in, that'll be able to produce, some runs and we can actually do our stuff. So I'm thinking, as long as we continue to get healthy over the next couple of weeks and we make it to the bye week, I'm hoping that by the time we get to Red River that we're about close to what the final product's going to look like, right? At that point, you should have, with Everett and Hickman, you're getting some snaps to Ozeta, who needs to get some snaps. He's young as a redshirt freshman. You need him as well. Getting Sexton, you're getting all those players, and it's going to be a good thing. So I'm pretty happy to see that. And then on the depth chart, as mentioned in the chat, and Matt just mentioned it, you got Farouk still in there
as the backup
on the kick return on the depth chart.
He's still in there,
which basically means he'll be back. You're going to see him back, is what that basically is telling you. Not this game. You're not going to see him. It's 8 weeks. So my anticipation is if Farouk plays this season, decides to play this year, it's November. You see him. What's the game? First game of November for us. That is probably Maine.
Missouri?
Would be the game that he would make his return to get himself back in shape in preparation of traveling to Missouri. Now, Farouk does have the option, though, if he wants to. If he redshirts and decides to play one more year, he can do that, right? Because he has not redshirted yet. He's been here 3 years.
Could he play Maine? I mean, could he come back for Missouri, Bama, LSU, and then
redshirt?
And redshirt still? I mean, so
technically,
but
yes.
I'm not. I mean, November is a few days away. This is it's crazy because when you said earlier, like next week when you go to Auburn, it's like I forgot about the Auburn game. I forgot about next week. Like I've been so focused on this week for 2-3 months.
Yeah,
it's been, it's like, I know that we're going to Auburn, and I know that then we got Texas. But it's just crazy. Like next week is our first SEC road game. This week, we've had some familiarity with Tennessee, so I guess it doesn't really feel anything. And no, Maine is not good. Maine will be about like the Temple game.
Worse than that, because Maine is FCS, so
FCS.
It'll be 70-0 type of game. You can run the score up on it. We could play our entire second string and run the score up on the game if we really want to.
It'll be like they're about as good as Kent State.
No, Kent State's better.
No, Jay.
Kent State will blow them out.
Okay, you're missing it. You're missing.
No, I get what you're saying. I get you. I'd say more Arkansas State. That's what it's closer.
There you go.
Because Kent State was actually putting up points on Georgia that year too. I don't want to give them that kind of respect.
Some of these colleges, and it's funny because through my job at USA Today, like I've had conversations with some of these schools, and I've talked to people at some of those Akron, Toledo, those type of schools, and it's crazy how they're like, hey, we're going to take the money, but we're sure as heck not going to like roll our first string guys out and just let them get pounded on. We're going to play like an open scrimmage. And so some of these smaller teams are starting to, kind of wise up. Why send your starters out there and, put them at risk for the rest of the season? But I digress. I mean, with the depth chart, do you want to talk about anything that you saw on the depth chart that really stuck out to you? Because I got a few spots that I'm kind of intrigued on.
Okay.
So starting off, you've got at the first wide receiver spot, Brennan Thompson or Nick Anderson, and then Andrell Anthony is the backup. And so obviously those guys are even though they're in the same spot, like having those last two, and Brennan, I think Brennan has a little idea in his brain to show out this week. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think the wide receivers are going to have a lot more success than they've had at any point during the season, and because you got your full complement of them minus the two long-term injuries, but. I really am starting to feel super confident about just what you have at the up the middle with we said that the tackles before the season, all the injuries, we said that the tackles are probably going to be the spot that you wanted to pay attention to, right?
Right.
And then it kind of went interior outside of Fabici, because then everybody got hurt and got shuffled around, but. As you look through Jacob Sexton starting at left guard with Heath Ozida right behind him, Hickman, Troy Everett Bates, and then Wee-Woo, and our boy EPL as the number 2 right behind Wee-Woo, which, he's obviously been one of our better offensive linemen. I'm pretty pumped up about this, Jay. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's do I think these guys are going to gel 100% immediately? No, but I also think that, like, that's a lot of intelligence on that offensive line to start against in this game.
No, I agree. Like I said, for me, the biggest thing has always been that the healthier we are, the offensive line, we knew was going to be a project, but the healthier we are, we'll be fine long term. It's one of those that as they gel and get better, and I'll pull this up for everybody now so y'all can see, if you can see, that once we get healthy, we'll be fine on the offensive line. That's where the struggle, of course, is going to come in. So we should be good, right? I do like, Tarkin has been good on the right tackle. He's been actually pretty good. I think he's great in the 70s right now.
He might be our most consistent offensive lineman through 3 games.
He also has SEC experience, so he's one of those linemen that, he understands. We hopefully fixed whatever problems that people believe that he had at his last spot. So.
Tarquin's proof that Florida played good football at some point.
That's pretty funny. That's actually quite comedy. But on top of that, though, the thing to keep in mind when it comes to the depth chart is this is the ideal situation that the team has, right? Health-wise, if everybody's healthy, this is kind of ideal of how they would want it to look. Because you see some of your hurt people on here besides the ones that are guaranteed to be out. This is how the ideal look of your lineup. And to me, I think what's fascinating is seeing that J.J. Hester is like the second wide receiver out there. He is the other wide receiver. And I'm hoping that we actually try to use him in his height. Take advantage of it. Make him go deep. Let Burks go underneath, right? And then let Burks get open in space. I think for me, the big thing has always been I want to see Deion Burks in space. The more in space I see him, the better that he plays. And then with Nick, use him to draw coverage deep as well as with Hester, and then let your tight ends and Burks mess around in space and try to get the ball. That's what I would like to see. But I don't know if we'll be able to accomplish that.
You also got to think those deep passes over the middle, where those deep dig routes that Nick Six has ran. That's easier to throw to a guy who's 6'4" with a 6'6" wingspan, because you've got a little bit more grace. Whereas if you're throwing it to Deion Burks at 5'9", you don't have a lot of wiggle room in throwing the ball 30 yards downfield in the middle of the field, because one tip and it's coming back the other way. So I think that's another big piece where the offense's ineptitude and just poor play up to this point. You start out game one playing in that 20-yard box we always talked about, and then through injuries happening, now you kind of just have to do it. And what happens is every single defender is within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they've got no worry about backing out, none at all. Well, now they got to think about that. And so, I think it would be great. We'll get into this here in a minute, but I think that allows you have a full complement of guys that can do some burning. You go deep early in the game, and it doesn't matter if you complete it or not. Now you have to absolutely think about that. Like, okay, that's now in the game plan. That's something they're going to do, and they're not going to sit, because these Tennessee defensive backs, they want to jump routes. They will jump routes, and they will keep their eyes in the backfield. And so there's a good chance that. There's a good chance that they're going to get Jackson, but I think the only way to back them off is to back them up.
Yeah. That's a very fair point. Thank y'all for pulling up per the norm. Hit that like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us the typical 5 stars. All right, Coop. This is going to be a good game. It's funny because all I've been hearing from one side is we're going to get the doors blown off of us. That's all I hear. Mm-hmm. As if Tennessee has seen a team like us before. Right? That's all I'm hearing. And to me, this is why I got this shirt on today. I think the world is going to really get introduced to what Zach Alley wants to do with this defense, with all the veterans he has on this defense. And I don't think that this game is going to be a blowout. I'll put it this way. All the fans are thinking it's going to be a blowout. All the ball knowers, your national guys, former players, they're all thinking 3-point game at most. And I say that because to start, I'm happy that we're seeing Tennessee now. And I'm going to be honest, because to me, if we saw Tennessee in November, I'm concerned. Because I think by then Nico starts to develop even more. He makes the mistakes he needs to make early. Because next season, Nico's going to be really good. I'm just going to tell y'all now. Y'all hear this from me right now. I may be, heavy on what Oklahoma can do to win this game this year. Next season, I'm telling you now, Nico's going to be a problem in the SEC. Kid's going to be stupid good.
Very much.
He's a redshirt freshman, and he's doing some solid stuff. He makes some pretty glaring mistakes with some of his decisions, and the good thing for him is what makes Tennessee's team tick offensively. For those that don't understand it, this is what makes them tick. Run game.
Yes.
Dylan Sampson, Deshaun Gibson, Deshaun Bishop, and who was it? Lewis. Can't think of that kid's name. Let me look him up real quick. The third running back that they have, because they have like 3 or 4 running backs. Because that was actually the big question about them coming in this year was, were they going to be able to establish that run game? So yeah, Dylan Sampson, Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis. That's his name, Peyton Lewis. He's got over 100 yards this season. They got 3 running backs over 100 yards this season. 3. They can run the ball. And Peyton Lewis is a freshman. So that makes you like, oh, snap. See, Bishop is a freshman as well. And Sampson is your old head. He's the junior. So you got 3 backs that can run. Yeah. That, to me, is where our defense will be able to show out. This is where Zach Alley needs to put his stamp in this game is, us keeping and maintaining a tight run defense. We do that, this game is a little bit tougher for Tennessee on the offensive side. Because yes, Heupel's offense, he's going to make it very easy for Nico. Nico likes certain routes. And if you mess up some of those as a young quarterback, makes it a little bit easier. Keep that in mind. The Heupel offense, similar to Levy's, is always predicated about that run game. If your run game is going, you're going to be doing some stuff. If your run game ain't going, putting it on his back, we would prefer that. Let's put it that way. Because go look at the numbers. Like, Nico this season statistically has not just blown thing out the water. I mean, he has, 698, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks?
Now, I will say, he hasn't played. I mean, they've played 3 quarterbacks in a couple different games, but right. even with what you're saying, like, it's not. I mean, for some of the lazy talking heads that have said, this is 2019 LSU. Like, come on, like that's just stupidity right there, because they don't have Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Marshall back there. Like that's not it. I mean, that's not even close to being accurate. But yeah, no, I do think that you start it with the run. I think that early in the game, I'm really wanting to know what does Josh Heupel think about this? Because Josh Heupel doesn't think the way that Twitter sphere thinks, right? Josh Heupel has an understanding. Josh Heupel has not been successful against Brent Venables' defenses. I mean, that's just the truth. And so, that's going to be a big deal. You're also going with Brent Venables has everybody healthy, everybody ready to go, and we've played straight up base this entire time on defense, and they've been prepping for Tennessee for months. And so I think this is why you went out and you got Dominic Williams. This is why you go out and you pop in and get a guy like Jaden Jackson and pay that money right there. This is why that you assure David Stone that you're going to supply him with everything he needs. And DJ Terry is still a guy who played at Tennessee. He had some injury issues, but these guys, this is why you beef up on that defensive line. And so it's going to be a little bit of a checkers match early in this game, because I don't think that Josh Heupel is going to come out and just go, hey, let's go deep and see what we can do. Like, I think it's going to be absolutely, let's see what we can do on the ground. Let's spread them out. Let's not. Their tight ends are great, Jay. I don't know if you've watched any of the games. Their tight ends are great blockers, and if they sneak out, they're going to be good too. So the linebackers are going to be crashing down on the run and have to still pay attention that he doesn't pull the ball and pop it, for 8, 9, 10 yards, every once in a while. So there's a lot of really, really good, matchups to be had here. But I think that, like I said, Nico will struggle, and I tweeted it out last week. Nico will struggle against this defense, and it's not going to be easy for him. He's struggled against lesser defenses, and so that's going to be something that we're going to see a little bit of. So can OU limit them, under 4 yards a carry? That helps you win the game. Now, if they're popping off, 6 yards a carry, I don't think this goes Oklahoma's way.
Yeah, the big thing is going to be even the defensive sets. The entire goal here is we got to control a lot more of the clock. So this is where the offense comes into play, and where the offense has to help the defense. That complementary football, as we always talk about. The most important thing is going to be making sure that we try to keep the ball on drives. And I think having healthy offensive linemen is going to help with that. Right. And I think that we'll be able to do more stuff with Nick Anderson out there to help with just sustaining drives. I don't need us to go out there and try to just go deep constantly and blow the doors open. I need us to take our time. That's what I want. Right. Steven asked this good question here. Are we going to run a 3-3-5 or a 4-2-5 mostly? Honestly, I think we do both.
Yes.
So yes, no comment. But yes.
And I think that we have. I got to be careful here. There's other looks too.
Yes.
There's other pre-snap looks that are going to happen to where you show maybe a bear defense and then slide out to a 3-3-5. There may be some crazy. I mean, there's going to be some crazy alignments, and I really allow, Brent Venables and I mean, they're going to continue to do what they need to do. I mean, it's not, this isn't backyard football. They're not going to be doing crazy stuff, but I also think this is, if you want to go deep, that's going to it's going to take some time. This is one of the best safety rooms in the country.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're got a weakness back at safety. You've got a ball hawk and one of the highest graded safeties on the other side, in college football. So, we have 3 safeties that are absolutely freaks.
Yeah, I think our secondary, going from linebackers back to secondaries, we've got some of the tops, right? I think we have top 5 units when it comes to going from linebackers back into the secondary, and that's what some of the experts believed as well. For us, even without Gentry playing, Kanai's been playing fantastic, right? Dez has been excellent, right? They had him shadowing Mario the entire game, and Mario was not able to really do anything. So I'm satisfied with the way that the secondary is playing and the linebacker unit. The question is going to be, can we get enough pressure on Nico early for it to be a problem for him? I'm seeing that Lance Hurd was on that injury report list, and it sounds like his ankle's pretty not very good. I've heard from a guy, I think he was the Vols Quest guy. He was on with Gabe and Teddy on Oklahoma Breakdown, and he was making mention that the plan is for all the starting linemen to play, right? But at the same time, you're seeing and hearing rumors that Hurd is a little bit hurt more than expected, and he may not play. I think he plays. I think they find a way to shoot him up with a cortisone shot or something, wrap him up 4 or 5 times, and we get his butt out there on the field. So I expect it. I expect him to be out there, but if he is nursing an ankle, you attack him like crazy, right? You attack him, you attack interior, you watch out for, you do whatever you can to just put enough pressure on Nico on a regular basis, just because it's earlier in the year, right? He's going to learn from this. This game's going to, if we get the pressure that we need to in this game, he's going to learn a hell of a lot about himself, and that's where he's going to start improving as the season goes on. That's hence why I said not November. I don't mind it early. November, by then, he'll see. Somebody's going to put him in. Let's put it this way. Y'all have seen Tennessee's schedule. Let's keep it a buck. They have not played anybody. But as they get into conference play, Arkansas is going to they're going to attack Nico because he's young. We ain't got to worry about Florida. That's a gimme for them because it's at the crib. And Arkansas is a road game. But Bama coming to the crib. They're going to test them, to me, right? I think this stretch of 4 games, us, Arkansas, Florida, and Alabama, especially having back-to-back road games, that's going to start building them up. Then you get the bye week, then Kentucky comes to town, right? And we saw how Kentucky was a pain in Georgia's butt, in which they have a tendency of doing that. It's the weirdest thing about them. It's like when you come to Lexington, they love to be a pain in everybody's butt, right? Yeah. But then they have Mississippi State coming to the crib, so they get to see Lebby, Lebby and Heupel, the reunion. But then they travel to Georgia and go to Athens mid-November. That game, that's the game I'm circling for Nico this season. That's the game where I'm going to see if he's grown up from all the games he's dealt with this season. Because then it's UTEP and Vandy, so it's like 2 cakewalks at the end. But that's the game on the road, tells me if he's grown up from these. And I think these 4 games are going to be the ones that's going to mold him the most. Right? Because I think he's going to see all kinds of crazy stuff. We all know BV and them get exotic with blitz packages and the way they attack the quarterback. And him being a young quarterback, a lot of this stuff he hasn't seen yet. So it's all going to be more so experience that he won't be seeing. He hasn't seen it yet. Our goal is going to be able to disrupt him as much as possible.
Man, I say this is one thing is whoever put these SEC schedules together, like it looks like for a couple teams, they like started working. They're like, man, this damn thing is hard. And then they just started just getting it done as fast as possible. Like, I don't understand some of these schedules. I mean, for Tennessee to have Bama and Georgia, Oklahoma, like that's ridiculous. And then you have other teams that have one of the, just Texas with just Georgia and Oklahoma. And what's their third hardest game that they play? Is it A&M?
Whose?
Texas.
Us, probably.
No, I said us and Georgia, and then who's their third hardest?
Oh, the third hardest. Ooh.
Or Arkansas? They got Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M, Vandy.
Yeah, it's probably
Mississippi State.
It's on the road. Probably will be A&M
and Florida
because it's a road game. Michigan should have been their hardest, one of their harder ones, but we knew Michigan was going to be on a rebuild anyway. But SEC-wise, it's probably, they travel to Arkansas. That was going to be an intriguing game. And then traveling to Kyle Field. Probably your two.
Was supposed to be Michigan, but I am just I mean, here's the thing is your coach bails, your draft picks disappear, and nobody gets up. Nobody gets up. I mean, like Michigan, there's a good chance Michigan may not have a very good season for quite a while. And, all this Spygate stuff looks like it continues to be more of a truth versus a theory, the more they play. So we'll see what happens. Because, I mean, this week, if USC comes to town and just dog walks them, it's going to be, I mean, there's going to be everybody pile on Michigan about the same damn way as Florida State got jumped.
Yeah, boy.
Because, I mean, it'd be the same thing as the Houston Astros, throwing out like a 50-win season. People would go crazy. All 100,000 baseball fans across the country. So, but we got a super chat.
That's rude. I know. I was letting you finish up, and I was going to jump on it. Fumundo, thank you for the $10. We greatly appreciate it. Join us tomorrow from Houston. See the game. You'll be out at tailgate with the fam. It'll be cool to meet you, Coop, PG, etc. Boomer Sooner. I'm not going to be able to make it to tailgate. My kids got soccer matches, so I won't be there until closer to game time. I'll probably be there maybe an hour before is what it looks like right now. So if we're floating around, we'll try to connect. But I'll be walking around before game. So. We'll
hit me up. So we will be over where they drop off the Walk of Champions. I'll be there probably around 3:30. I'm gonna go over with Steve Stutzman and hang out at the parents' tailgate right over by. It's at the Selman Brothers statue. So
yeah.
So if you go checking around, I'll be hanging out over there. Our seats, Jay, where our seats are. 35-yard line on the east side.
Yeah, something like that.
30 rows
I'll
up.
Have to look.
Just catch me outside. How about that? Is that
there? You go. Yeah.
There we go.
Something like that. So we'll be floating around. Let me know where you're sitting at. Shoot us a message. Hit us up on the Bird app. You can see where I'm at. Tweet at me. Let us know where you're going to be, where you're sitting at, and what area. We'll make sure to make something work.
I will not look at you like Aaron Rodgers looked at his head coach tonight. I will definitely
will actually do that. He's not telling.
If I don't see you, it will look like that because the RBF.
That's exactly what Coop's going to do to you. He's going to look at you like that. The Jets are actually winning too. That's what's crazy about
Michigan would clown. Truth, I strongly disagree with you, bro. I mean, Michigan has struggled in every single game, and I mean, there's a chance Tulane may not lose again this year. Memphis is the only game that
with a freshman quarterback. That's the craziest part.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that Mensa was actually a freshman. I thought he was at least a redshirt freshman. No, that dude's a freshman. I thought he was a redshirt.
Hey, I'm just saying Tulane's good. Michigan is awful, and that's I'm not doing it. I'm not taking a shot at Texas with that. Michigan is awful.
Michigan beat Arkansas State 28-18.
And
And we beat Arkansas State last year. What, 73-0? Butch Jones squad. Butch Jones out there doing it, man.
Oh, that's
Fresno State 30-10. Come on, man. Michigan's bad. They're bad.
Butch Jones was on suicide watch about third quarter on in that game. I mean, his soul was gone.
His soul was gone. I felt so bad for him.
It was rough.
We'll see, Truth. We'll see on Saturday, of course. I mean, as you keep telling us, we're a terrible team. Sure, just keep saying it over and over if it makes you feel better.
I mean, I mean, it's just statistics, bro. Like, they literally beat them by 10 points. And
anyway, Coop, let's move on into something else. As there's no point in talking to a brick wall. We'll see what that looks like later on. But yeah, no, it's. I think another thing too, some aspects to keep an eye out for with Tennessee, their wide receiver room. I mean, this wide receiver room was full of transfers, but it's still solid, right? You got the one from
you got Brazel.
Thornton came from Oregon, if I'm correct, or was it Brazel that came from Oregon?
No, Brazel came from Tulane, I believe.
Okay, yeah. Thornton Jr. was the one from Oregon, and he's been there for a couple of years, so he's had some time underneath there. And Brazel came from Tulane. Yes, he did. He was Tulane. He had 700 yards last year, Tulane. Sheesh.
Bro, he was their best wide receiver, and he was one of those matchups that, when people played him, played against him, and like he showed out. Like he did a good job, against us. When he played, he balled out, all over USC.
Yeah, I remember that year.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy's a good receiver. He's a big, tall guy. Brew McCoy, which is
shout out to Brew McCoy. I am surprised that he's actually out there like that.
He is.
No lie.
He is
After that ankle injury he had last season, dude, I did not think he was going to be able to play the beginning of this season. He's been playing.
He's the wide receiver version of JT Daniels. I mean, like, dude.
He really has been around.
Again, I mean, this was a guy who was, one of the highest rated guys coming out of high school a few years back. And, he is stuck in there, and he's bounced around a little bit. But, I pull for guys like that. And that's what's bad is I know that you and I both like Tennessee a lot. I mean, just, close to heart. And, but yeah, I like their wide receivers. Going back in and looking at some of the film, there's been a lot of times they've been running around with nobody around them.
Wide open, butt naked open. But I mean, you get that if you're playing Chattanooga and you're playing Kent State without Sean Lewis. Remember, the Kent State that almost gave Georgia hell 2 years ago was Sean Lewis's Kent State. He ain't there no more. Remember, he went to Colorado for a year. Now he's at San Diego State. So, but yeah,
future Pac-12 San Diego State.
Future Pac something San Diego State, which is still wild to me that they're going all through this reorgs and stuff, but I digress. But no, you mentioned the tight ends though, Coop, and we wanted Holden Stays. That was one player we was going after, and
yeah,
they passed the ball around. Let's put it that way. That's the one thing that I have noticed from the way that Tennessee plays is that they mix it up, right? Chris Brazel is their top receiver at 10 catches, but that's it, right? It's a mixture. You have 4 guys with 100 yards on the season. They literally spread the ball around, right? And they've thrown for 900 yards on the season. Nico's only got just under 700 of it because he hasn't had to play 4 quarters, right? So they're doing a really good job of, like I said, spreading the ball and getting everybody involved and getting everybody looks, right? Like Mike Matthews is the young guy that next season's going to be dumb good. Matthews is a really good 6'1" freshman out of Georgia.
Yeah. Between Stays and then Kitzelman, like those guys are going to both be, like I said, those guys are going to both be guys that are going to, especially if Hurd is, got a bum ankle, they're going to want to put somebody out on him. Yeah. And this is going to be the first time that they go up against this offensive line, goes up against a defensive line that they can't just, stuff up when they rush 4. Like you're going to have, especially in this BV scheme. I mean, you're going to have somebody double teaming either Dom or Terry or Jackson. You're going to have guys pretty lined up, and then you're going to have a free man. So is it going to be the tight end staying in? Is it going to be, and that's on passing downs, on rush downs. We're starting to see Kobe McKenzie develop into that dude too. And so when you go 3 deep with Kobe, Kip, and Danny, it's kind of crazy, and you can rotate these guys in and stay pretty fresh. Dolby's
and
back
Lewis
in.
Carter and Kanik,
And you got Lewis Carter and the Kanik. Man, congratulations to Kanik. I saw him. In quite a bit in big moments here this past week, and so I mean, it looks like he was starting to really, really get it. So, I'm pretty excited about that to be able to keep these linebackers fresh. But you got to be disciplined with your eyes, and I think that goes for both sides. Both of the sets of backs for Tennessee and for Oklahoma. You got to have good eye discipline, because if you don't have that good eye discipline, all of a sudden you're losing 2 steps. And with guys who are going to, they're going to be hopping in here trying to stop the run. Even though we have ran the ball piss poor at this point, I think that you supplement the run with off-tackle stuff. You supplement the run with the running back pass game. I think it was McQuistion who brought up, an old scheme where there was a game against Tennessee and was it Ole Miss, and they had a lot of success. Threw the running backs 18 times. So we'll continue to see some of that stuff. But the tight ends, they don't have a star wide receiver. They've got a bunch of capable guys.
That's true. And I think the rotations are going to be good. Yeah, Kanik played a lot in late. He got some good moments. He's been really good in tackling this season. Grade-wise, he's been having some really good games. So I anticipate seeing a lot more Kanik, as the season progresses. But the good thing is, like you said, we don't have a massive drop-off when you start going through your linebackers. So overall in this game, let's wrap up with predictions. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think there's a path for Oklahoma to win by controlling the line of scrimmage and making Tennessee really work, right? If you can stop the run, which is what our strong suit is on our defense, it's going to make it tougher to pass. But I think there is a path for it. I don't think that Tennessee covers the spread in this game, though. I think that the spread, if Tennessee wins, it's 4 points or less. If Oklahoma wins, it's 4 points or less. That's kind of where I'm at in this one. For me, it's still about health. We got to see who's all going to actually play. If our offensive linemen end up being on the field, I can see it. I think for me, the over-under sit at 56.5, Coop. I'm going to say Oklahoma 28, Tennessee 24.
Yeah. If Oklahoma, you get your players back. You haven't had a healthy offensive line yet. You've been playing your 4th-string center. You've been shuffling tackles into a guard position, switching tackles from one side of the line to the other side. You get these guys back. You could have played a few of them last week, and you could have got these guys in, but you run the potential of those guys getting hurt. Somebody just texted me a few minutes ago. Hickman had another great day of practice today, and doing walkthrough stuff. So that looks good.
Get it.
With Oklahoma, if you fail on offense, don't do it after 25 seconds. You got to catch the damn ball. That's another thing is you do not have an opportunity to do this. I think that Deion Burks showed out who he really is. I want to see Deion Burks get a couple deep balls, because I think for a guy with 22 catches through 3 games, his average yard per catch is pretty low. So I think that you're going to get a chance to see him with a little deep action. We now have a tight end. So as much as I say with the Tennessee offense, if this offensive line flirts with good, that's all you need. And if the defense does what I think it's going to do, you look at my prediction here is Oklahoma 31-24. I think that we got an opportunity to maybe get a score or set up an easy score on defense. Special teams is going to be a big deal too. Their kicker is the leading scorer of the nation. So if you hold them to field goals, you gotta up that. You gotta be over the top of it. So I feel pretty confident in this one, and I think that the defense, we have ground out every single game so far, and now we get a bunch of guys back and we're healthy. What are they going to respond to when they have to grind? Can they do that? Do they know how to do it? Tennessee traditionally has had a hell of a time winning against ranked opponents on the road. And didn't matter who the team was, they have not done it well. And that's what's kept them from winning anything since 1998 was their last conference championship. So, 31-24, Oklahoma.
Let's get it. All right. Drop your predictions in there. I see a bunch of them coming through. Y'all feeling good for me. I like this close one, 29-28. That's a close. Coop says 20-19. Like that.
But I say this. If you are going to the game, if you know people going to the game, you tell them this is not a game that you are sitting down and all that mess. I will shame you publicly if I see you sitting down in our section. So you're going to be up, yelling, going crazy. I've heard, Jay, did you hear people are talking about bringing a bunch of dimes, or like bringing cash and trying to get change at the concession stand so they can turn their empty water bottles into shakers. There's a bunch of stuff going around for that. So I don't give a damn if they sing "Let It Go" from Frozen or "Here Comes the Boom" by Nelly. Like, it doesn't matter what the music is. You guys can turn it up. Let's get it going.
That's what I'm talking about. Just get loud, lose your darn minds in that game, please. All right, thank y'all for pulling up. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up, get out of here, get some sleep. Hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. With that, we'll be ready. We'll chop it up post-game. I don't know. Depending on how long it takes to get home, I may throw something up right after the game. But you'll definitely have my morning after. First thing Sunday morning. Me and Coop go live on Sunday evening. I got to throw that up before I hop on the plane. That way we can talk through it. But I'll be watching the game. I'll probably be in the car rewatching the game, listen while somebody else is driving me home as I prepare and everything. So, all right, let's chop it up with y'all. Peace.